Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you've had a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is I would actually like to issue an apology. This morning after the Astros apology press conference, I don't know if you're unfamiliar with the situation. They were exposed for cheating, breaking the rules during a World Series season for them. And this morning, among a number of interviews, Astros owner Jim Crane was giving an interview, and he contradicted himself about a minute apart.
You know, our opinion is that this didn't impact the game. We had a good team. We won the World Series, and we'll leave it at that.
Jim, when talking about the Yankees there, did you say you feel like this didn't impact the game? And what do you mean by that?
I didn't say it didn't impact the game. You know, our opinion is that this didn't impact the game.
Right, so he says, our opinion is it didn't impact the game. Then just 55 seconds later, he says, I didn't say it didn't impact the game. My response to that was, LOL, fuck the Astros. And before I just threw out that tweet without thinking, I didn't think of the impact it could have. And the next thing that I saw is, and I hate saying this because Jake unfollowed me. He let me know that he unfollowed me in a tweet, and I'd like to just give an apology to Jake as well as anyone else offended. I'd just like to take this moment to say sorry, both to Jake and also to everyone else that didn't want Jake to leave. And you know, sometimes we come up short, and so I want everyone to know that moving forward, I will not tweet things in fear of someone having a negative reaction to that statement, he said sarcastically. Also, once again, fuck the Astros. Or rather, because that is kind of a broad and forever statement, fuck Jim Crane, and then distributed to others based off of their involvement and knowledge of all this cheating. Fuck all those players and people involved in that. And I mean that in the metaphorical sense, not the physical sense, because I know y'all love banging things. But yeah, especially Jim Crane. The man made no sense.
Jim, sign stealing is a distinct advantage for the hitter. So how is it that it doesn't affect competition? So then what are you guys apologizing for?
We're apologizing because we broke the rules.
But isn't sign stealing a distinct advantage for the hitter, so doesn't it automatically impact competition?
It could possibly do that. It could possibly not.
But yeah, baseball fans, I'd love to know your thoughts around this, but moving on. And then let's talk about Jim Carrey in the news. If you don't know, he's in the new Sonic movie. He plays Dr. Robotnik. And Jim Carrey is a very interesting man. I was actually looking forward to him doing press for this movie. Kind of side note here, if you've never seen the documentary Jim and Andy, I believe it's still on Netflix, definitely watch it. You definitely get a greater and more raw insight into who Jim Carrey is. It's kind of amazing, but nerve-wracking and uncomfortable to watch. Yeah. But back on topic, Jim Carrey's been doing press, and we've gotten some fun moments of just him kind of just instantly switching into the Grinch. But then we've also seen a moment where Jim Carrey has gotten blasted for being what people have called sexist and inappropriate. This is what they described as an unsolicited sexual comment towards an interviewer. The interviewer is Charlotte Long from UK's Heat magazine, and this is the clip that people are talking about.
And in the film, Sonic has a bucket list, and I was wondering, after all you've done in your career and in your life, is there anything still left on your bucket list?
Just you.
Oh, wow.
That's it. It's all done now.
I don't know what to say to that.
I know. Just own it.
Okay, I'm owning it now.
Right, and so following that, you had some people calling him a massive sleazebag, saying he was totally inappropriate. Though we also saw fans defending him. One writing he made a joke didn't land. Everyone is so offended about everything. If a female comedian said that about someone, we'd all laugh. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. But with that said, as far as my opinion on this, I actually land in the camp of, I think that the joke is being misinterpreted. Right, for me personally, when I watch that clip, it feels like he's saying, you know, being interviewed by you, that's on my bucket list. It's kind of like a throwaway joke. Right, when these press tours happen, they plop the celebrities in these like kind of cramped rooms, there's a ton of lights, all of a sudden you have all these interviewers just popping in, popping out every 5-10 minutes. So I just took it as kind of lighthearted joke of him like, this is happening, I finally actually made it. And so in general to me, the people kind of angry here, they're either also misinterpreting or they're projecting, and it feels overly sensitive. But with that said, that's a story, my personal takeaway, and of course, I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. And then let's talk about the continuing war against Huawei. Right, and so this has been an ongoing situation, a developing situation. Several days ago, we had US officials saying Huawei equipment has secret backdoors, with White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien saying, we have evidence that Huawei has the capability secretly to access sensitive and personal information and systems it maintains and sells around the world. And this was big news, a big announcement, because the United States, for a while now has been trying to get allies to reject Huawei equipment in their 5G networks. Now, regarding that claim, Huawei, of course, has denied the allegation, saying it has never and will never do anything that would compromise or endanger the security of networks and data of its clients. With the chairman of Huawei even going on to say regarding evidence, if you have proof or evidence, it should be made known. Maybe not to Huawei and maybe not to the public, but to telecom operators, because they are the ones that buy Huawei. There has never been any evidence that our equipment poses a security threat. So essentially saying put up or shut up regarding evidence that it appears that the United States says that it has. And now what we're seeing in addition to that today is kind of the continuation of the campaign, with the US Justice Department hitting Huawei and its CFO with 16 charges. The indictment announced today reportedly including charges of racketeering as well as conspiracy to steal trade secrets. And as Axios pointed out in their report, this superseding indictment could ratchet up the potential penalties against Huawei, which was already facing charges for violating US sanctions against Iran and North Korea. Now, regarding these charges, we saw US Attorney Richard Donoghue say the new charges in this case relate to the alleged decades-long efforts by Huawei and several of its subsidiaries, both in the United States and in the People's Republic of China, to misappropriate intellectual property, including from 6 US technology companies, in an effort to grow and operate Huawei's business. With Donoghue going on to explain, the misappropriated intellectual property included trade secret information and copyrighted works, such as source code and user manuals for internet routers, antenna technology, and robot testing technology. But ultimately, that's where we are now. The situation is still developing. It's definitely a stress point regarding the United States and China, though not the only one. But for now, we'll have to wait to see what else comes out and what happens next. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today and awesome, brought to you by Experian. Experian is empowering consumers to instantly increase their credit scores with Experian Boost. And Boost give you credit for utility bills that you're already paying through your bank account or credit card, like water, gas, electric, cable, and even your cell phone bill. And as someone who had horrible credit for years, thank you, college. Now being on the other end of it, it is just so incredibly important to have good credit for successes in life and opportunities in life. I mean, fixing mine was definitely one of the best and most beneficial things that I've done on the business side. And it can take months to improve your credit scores, but with Experian Boost, you can improve your score instantly, and most people see an increase greater than 10 points. It can potentially help you establish or increase your access to credit. Experian promotes Boost as safe, secure, 100% free, no credit card required to get started. And when you sign up, you'll also get a free copy of your Experian credit report and a free FICO score, which automatically updates monthly. So with all of that said, just head on over to Experian.com/DeFranco, or just click that link in the description down below to boost your FICO score instantly and free today. The first bit of awesome today is just kind of a last minute reminder. Depending on if this video is on time, you only have 8 to 10 more hours to snag yourself a limited edition hoodie, the Beautiful Bastard in white or the Beautiful Bastard in red and black. And then it will go away for I don't really know how long. Some stay away forever, some stay away for months. But yeah, if you want to snag one while you can, go to shopdefranco.com. Then Gus Johnson gave us, a kissing women prank, but the only woman he kisses is his grandma, like a savage. Then Marvel Entertainment gave us the Avengers budget explained. We also got the how it should have ended for the rise of Skywalker. Then, and I'm very excited about this, we got the new trailer for the new Wes Anderson film, The French Dispatch. We also got the teaser for The Green Knight. We also got to see Zoe Kravitz on Hot Ones, which, side note, Sean Evans will be on the podcast next week. We post a new one every Wednesday, and it was great to have Sean on. Other than Casey, I think he's the only person to have come on now twice. Will Smith gave us how he shot Bad Boys for Life, and we had Billie Eilish answering questions from an AI bot. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about Michael Bloomberg and the 2020 election, because you know how this week we talked about how he could spend $100 million a day from now to election day and still have $30 billion? Well, it appears that the billionaire former New York mayor, who's now running in the Democratic primary, decided to spend that access to money on memes. According to reports, his campaign teamed up with Meme 2020, which has access to over a dozen meme accounts totaling 60 million followers. Notably, Mick Brzezicki is the lead strategist of the company. He's also the chief executive of Jerry Media, which, if that sounds familiar, it's probably for a couple of reasons. First, they helped promote the infamous Fyre Festival, then later producing a Netflix documentary about it, which was, I know there were several of them. Unsurprisingly, their doc was the one that made them seem less like one of the villains. They also run the Fuck Jerry Instagram account, which has faced a lot of backlash for stealing jokes and not crediting them, though that has really not stopped them. That page alone has 14.9 million followers, right? So an extensive reach. And thanks to the partnership with the Bloomberg campaign, it's also one of the pages that Bloomberg has actually had memes posted on. And in general, all of these memes, all of these posts have kind of the same theme. It's an old politician billionaire who's out of touch with the youth trying to seem cool. To which you hear that and you're like, oh, you mean like Pokemon Go to the polls with Hillary Clinton in 2016, which there is a similarity, but the difference here would be that the Bloomberg campaign is trying to position themselves as they're also in on the joke, right? And even if that effort doesn't work, it's still so odd that people will likely talk about it, right? It's kind of like when Bloomberg's team posted this weird meatball photo with Mike's face on a meatball. It gets his name and kind of face out there more, and more of just like, as you become a bigger part of the conversation more and more, maybe that will end up leading to more votes down the road once you go, oh yeah, the weird meme guy. And the thing is, unlike a lot of paid sponsorships, a lot of these posts blew the hell up. Also, I'm talking about it, a ton of people are talking about this story, and I believe, and it's not really an unpopular opinion, that a lot of the reason this spread so much is that a lot of people were like, this is very weird. This can't actually be a real paid sponsorship, right? This is kind of just a meme, right? The meme is that he has so much money he would pay, but no, he actually did it. And this is also not their kind of first dabbling in the space. I mean, they spent a ton of money on Facebook ads. Also, reportedly, it offered influencers money for sponsored posts in the past. Now, as far as the rest of the social media reaction, it was kind of mixed. You know, some expressing praise and support. We also had people saying things like, this sucks, unfollow. Model and actress Emily Ratajkowski commenting, this is not a good look for you. The Fat Jewish, who's definitely in the meme space, was 11 million followers, commented on one of the posts saying that he was actually offered to do this but turned it down, citing that he grew up in New York and really disagreed with Bloomberg's stop and frisk and anti-marijuana stance. Also, we've seen people talking about this on Twitter with things like, if Mike Bloomberg is genuinely paying the meme accounts I follow on Instagram to advertise for his campaign, it's not gonna work, my man. You're not buying my vote. Others writing, anyone sharing a pro-Bloomberg meme is forever canceled, pass it on. Now, with all of that said, I will say I do think that it is hard to argue that this was not effective. Because whether you liked those posts or not, the name Michael Bloomberg nationally is being said more and more in association to running for president. Now, will it be effective? We have to wait and see the polls. We have to wait and see what actually happens on Super Tuesday. Familiarity with a candidate can be a driving factor when voting. And with so many Democrats running, so many moderates splitting up the moderate vote right now, this might actually become something. I do also wonder, though, if there will be any more fallout regarding these meme accounts. Right? Because even though these are paid sponsorships, because the content that is being delivered to the consumer is being done on a channel level, right? This is me saying this. I think a number of people are going to conflate it as essentially a paid endorsement. Right? If you're willing to take money from a candidate, it essentially seems like a thumbs up. We don't know the effectiveness there, but it's also sparked a larger conversation around social media and political endorsements, right? Because a lot of names have gotten very vocal about the 2020 election. I mean, the two names that come to mind, right, very big audiences online, you have the likes of Joe Rogan and Ethan Klein, who have endorsed Bernie Sanders. Rogan on his podcast saying that he would likely vote for Sanders. Then Sanders' team ended up using that essentially as a political ad. Following that, I don't know if you remember, there was a lot of backlash on Twitter. There were articles about how it was a bad thing. Though, and I might be misremembering, I feel like The Onion did a piece that was like, oh, Bernie Sanders exposed of trying to get people to vote for him that aren't just pure progressives. But even there's a debate about how impactful celebrity endorsements like this can be. Though, I will say Vice wrote a piece that Rogan's endorsement is actually one of the most influential in America, saying Rogan's endorsement doesn't depend on whether Rogan himself is good or bad. It's whether his endorsement moves the needle. And given how much discussion there is about his endorsement and what we know about Rogan's overall influence, it almost certainly does. But as far as how effective it ended up being, I mean, I think it's hard to say because there's not just one thing that's happening at any given moment. It's hard to tell the difference between causation and correlation. And so actually, with all that said, I did want to ask you two key questions here. One, what are your feelings and reactions to Meme 2020 and Fuck Jerry getting involved with the Bloomberg campaign? And two, regarding celebrity endorsements, right, where there's no money being exchanged, what are your thoughts around that? Has anyone that has ever done that influenced you in some way? Right? Has a Rogan or a Klein or a whoever saying, this is someone that I'm probably going to vote for, or this is who I'm supporting, moved you? Whether it be to go, okay, I'm actually going to vote for that person, or two, hey, I'm going to look a little more into this person. And that is where I'm going to end today's show. And of course, remember, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe to watch more of these daily videos. Also, if you're looking for more to watch right now, you can check out that brand new podcast I did with James Charles, or maybe you just missed yesterday's Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, you can click or tap right there to watch either of those right now. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you next time.
I hope you liked the video. Subscribe if you like it.